All right, with that, we bring in former Secretary of State, former CIA Director, and Fox News contributor Mike Pompeo. Always good to see you. Thank you very much for being here today. What do you make of that scene, and what's the pressure on this president? I'm not sure why he was equating that woman to a MAGA Republican, but thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a strange response to someone who's attacking you from the left. Essentially, right, this is the left. This is the pro-Hamas base of activity here in the United States, this deeply anti-Semitic group of folks who think that the right answer is a ceasefire, which would only reward Iran and Hamas. So I'm not sure quite why the president was triggered in that way. Second thought, you're right, it's not calming down. When we were together here, I don't know, a few weeks back, I said, look, if we don't go after the Iranians directly in some significant way, it is likely to escalate. In fact, that's what's happened over these past 3 weeks. We've watched. They continue to test. They continue to probe. We've now had 2 U.S. Navy members killed in part of the activities surrounding this conflict. I hear lots of people saying, gosh, it's really a risk that we might go to war with Iran. In fact, as a practical matter, I think you could argue we are there now. The Iranians certainly think so, and they think they are routing the United States, and it's going to take real resolve from this administration. Last thought, Mr. Kirby said today that he wanted the Chinese to help with this problem set. I find the likelihood that Xi Jinping is going to help the United States of America in any material way to just be fantasy. And so while I'm rooting for anyone who can save American lives, help Israel protect itself and stop Hamas, I think the chance of the Chinese Communist Party engaging in that way is precisely zero.
So we have escalation in that area. Israel, Hamas, all over the Middle East, in Yemen, and in the Red Sea, as we just saw. Then we also have the stepping up, really, of Putin's attacks in Ukraine, in Kharkiv, in the heart of the city, in Kyiv as well, and discussions by the surrounding countries there that they are preparing, saying it's just a matter of time before he pushes into one of these NATO countries as well. There was an image that I thought really was horrific, tragic, and striking today. This is a woman holding her shopping bags after a bombing in Kharkiv. Her whole head is bandaged, and she is just standing in this ambulance in shock. I mean, she's holding her purse, holding her bags, and she is covered in blood from head to toe. And I think, Secretary Pompeo, that sometimes there are images that really hit home in war. This could be any one of us on our way to do errands, and she is caught in the middle of this. What's going on here?
So it's heartbreaking to see these images. We've seen them at the beginning of the war back from 2022 when this all began. It's not dissimilar to some of the images we saw in the south of Israel when the attacks took place on October 7th, too. War is horrible. It is horrific. It impacts lives all across the region and impacts so many things that it's hard to see from a distance. These things feel a long ways away for the American people. But make no mistake about it, if the United States doesn't provide the tools and resources and help these folks defend their own nation's sovereignty, we'll see not only more folks like that, innocent civilians slaughtered and killed, but the point that he will continue to move across greater Europe is very, very real. Putin is not intent on having political control in Kyiv. The desire for greater Russia remains.
Absolutely. Now, Russia claims that Ukraine shot down a transport plane with dozens of Ukrainian POWs on the plane. Everyone was killed on the plane. Ukraine hasn't confirmed that yet. But this is just another, sort of tinderbox moment for these two countries in this battle.
Yeah, I've seen that reporting. I always take with a great amount of skepticism things that the Russians or TASS or someone foists upon the world. We should go validate it. But those kind of accidents do happen if, in fact, it was an accident. Right? They wouldn't have wanted to kill their own returning prisoners if this was something they'd agreed to. Make no mistake about it, Vladimir Putin is determined to stay at this. And if the West doesn't do its part to help Ukraine, he'll get what it is he wants. And Xi Jinping, as we spoke about earlier, he's watching each of these to see if America is truly resolved.
So at one point you were in this race and considering the GOP nomination for yourself. What did you make of last night? It's now down to Haley and Trump. A lot of people telling her she should get out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a practical matter, this is complete. I think not only the people of Iowa and New Hampshire have spoken, but we can see the polls across the country as well. I think this is very unlikely.
Her argument is that there's only, a few 100,000 people who've actually cast votes yet.
Yeah, look, the great thing about America is we each get to make our own decisions.
Right.
I decided I was smart enough not to get into the race. She chose to, and she's welcome to continue. But if you're asking me what I think the likely outcome is, I think we are going to do our level best to make sure that President Biden isn't reelected and that it'll be President Trump leading that charge.
Okay. So a lot of people talking about potential vice presidential candidates with President Trump. And your name comes up a lot. I had several discussions in Iowa and New Hampshire. Is that something that you would consider if asked to do so?
Martha, I seldom comment on whether I'll take jobs that I haven't been offered. But suffice it to say, when I've been asked to serve in the past, if I thought I could make a difference, I've always said yes. That's probably not going to change for the rest of my time on this earth.
And what about going back to the cabinet? Is that something you would consider if asked?
Oh, Martha, we'll see. We'll see what the good Lord brings. If I get asked and I think I can make a difference, it seems like an obligation. America's been awfully good to me. And so to return that is a small part of what I might be able to pull off.
Well, you've been awfully good to your country, too, serving in a number of ways, in the military, as CIA director, as Secretary of State. So, and we like having you here at Fox because we get to tap into your expertise all the time here. So, Secretary Pompeo, thank you.
Thank you.
Always good to see you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much.